welcome into the Gridiron Grind. Another week on the grind. It's Krita and Jimmy. Bowl season is upon us. It gets started this week, actually Friday. They're starting it a day early this year.
I
Got
love
two
it.
games. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. Friday's work schedule is going to be non-productive for a lot of people, but
Yeah, I'm getting out of a baby shower.
because
No, I
it's
can't, babe. Bowls are on.
yeah,
Bowls are babies, and
and it's probably the last day a lot of people are working. They're probably going to take all week. Some people get all week next week off, and the week following. So if you're lucky to get 2 weeks off, yeah, not gonna be a productive Friday with two bowl games on. So the bowl games are here, but I guess first we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Leach passing away earlier this week. R.I.P. to the Pirate. Just the influence he had on not just college football, but like NFL football. I mean, I've heard a story about how he influenced the slot receiver, and after he started getting those dudes at Tech, Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Eric Morris, who just got hired as head coach of North Texas, by the way. But like, then you started seeing people value shorter, maybe not blazing speed guys, but shorter, perfect route runners in the slot. Because everybody always wanted size and receivers, but they didn't like short guys because they get jammed at the line of scrimmage. Well, you're not on the line of scrimmage in the slot. So he kind of created a different perspective on what you're looking for in the slot. And you saw like Bill Belichick, for instance, he grabbed both those guys, Wes Welker and Danny Amendola. Won Super Bowls with both of them. So, I mean, he changed in that, like the Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid has said plenty of times how he's taken so many plays from Mike Leach and that kind of style of offense. So, I mean, he just had a lot of influence on offensive football.
He did, man. And he and Hal Mummy, that air raid offense really just, I mean, it's unreal. Those guys, they come together at Kentucky, turned Tim Couch into the #1 overall pick over Donovan McNabb and Dante Culpepper in that same draft. So that speaks volumes right there. Another thing is his coaching tree. You know, some of the notable guys, Dave Aranda at Baylor, Neil Brown, West Virginia, Sonny Cumbie, Sonny Dykes, Josh Heupel, Holgerson, Kingsbury, Eric Morris, like you said, Lincoln Riley, Ken Wilson. I mean, it's pretty impressive, that guy. His, like just his football mind, you know, and it's important to, I'm sure everyone knows this, but the guy played football in high school. Other than that, he played rugby in college. He went to Pepperdine, got a law degree, got a master's degree, and then decided, I love football enough. Let me go coach it.
And I don't know if you know this story. This is why he got a master's degree. This is a crazy story. So he goes, like you said, he went to BYU undergrad. He goes to Pepperdine Law School. So then they call him. He got a coaching gig. I'm not sure if he was at Where did he get his master's degree? Was it at BYU? He was coaching. I forget where it was. But he was coaching, and they called him like, hey, your student loans are due for your law school, your law degree. And he told this he was in an interview one time, and he said, well, I'm making like $500 a month. I can't start paying back my law school loans yet. And he's like, so what can I do to, get out of this or whatever? And they're like, well, unless you're going to school, you're going to be in default of paying these loans because you hadn't paid them, but you hadn't started paying them back yet, and they're due. And he said, so I got to go to more school to get out of paying. And he go, yeah, if you go to school, if you're enrolled in school, you don't have to start paying these back. You get deferred for however long. So he just rolled back, somehow got to school to pay for his master's degree. And that's why he got a master's after he got a law degree. Because, I mean, who does that?
That's pretty impressive. The United States Sports Academy is where he got his master's degree from. It's a private school in Alabama.
There you go. He was coaching there somewhere really close to it. And that's when he got a master's degree so he could get out of paying his law school loans. But then he said he was like at Texas Tech for a couple of years before he could pay off his law school loans. He goes, I was making millions of dollars, and that's how long it took me to pay off my law school loans.
I mean, the guy's a character. That's a perfect Mike Leach story too, because he's very, his philosophy on marriage. People have asked him
Oh
over the
yeah,
years, Coach, I'm gonna get married. You got any advice? Da da da. And it's the same version every time. It's elope.
yeah,
The guy was smart. He's like, you know, you're gonna get beat up verbally, mentally over
yeah.
this wedding, and then it's gonna be done, and then you're gonna wish you'd eloped anyway. So
He even
take my
said
advice, elope.
he had 3 kids. I believe he had 3 kids. He offered all 3 of them $10,000 extra if they would just go to Vegas and elope. And he said none of them took me up on it, but I would definitely do it if they ever wanted to. I just would have paid them 10 grand just to go elope.
I mean, the guy, that's it, the best. He's Mount Rushmore, if not the best interview
Oh
of
yeah,
all
because
time. Like the guy,
he was
it
so.
didn't
I mean,
matter. You could ask him. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, he had so many different interests too, not just football. I mean, he wrote a book on Geronimo. You
Yeah.
know, he taught a class on warfare tactics and how they applied to football at Washington State, and it was sold out within minutes of them opening up.
Oh, I
Uh,
believe it. The
he
Pirates,
was
everybody knows his affinity with
on
pirates
Pirates.
and
Yeah,
and
just
just
get on YouTube. Get on YouTube and search
worth
all
it.
the Mike Leach stuff. I mean, my favorite
I,
one will always be Fat Little Girlfriends. When he got
Fat
mad
Little Girlfriends is
at Tech,
phenomenal.
he talks about how they just get pumped up because in '08 they were phenomenal in '08, but then like in
Mhm.
'09, uh, I guess there's some entitlement on his team because he had a locker room rant after they played Baylor, and he was talking about y'all think just because we were good last year we're gonna be good this year, and like you didn't score that touchdown, Michael Crabtree scored that, you didn't throw that pass, Graham Harrell threw that pass, so and then I believe the same year later on, he's like, these guys think they're so good because their fat little girlfriends tell them how great they are when they go home after the game. And I mean, that was Fat Little Girlfriend's my favorite. The story, my favorite story of him, though, you need to search this. They did a special on Game Day a couple years ago when he was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma in 1999, and they were playing Texas. They stayed up the night before and created a fake script of the first like 15, 20 plays. But he like did it to where like if they were going to run a play that goes to the right, his fake script would make it go to the left. And they purposely dropped it in front of the Texas bench. And Tom Herman was the GA,
This
picked
makes
it
a lot
up,
of sense. Of
picked
course
it
he
up,
did. Of course.
took it to the defensive coordinator, and they followed it. And Oklahoma scored 2 touchdowns in like their first 4 plays. They're up 14-0. Oklahoma was a huge underdog, and Texas ended up winning the game. But it was just, I mean, Google that Mike Lee's fake script. They did a special on Game Day a couple years ago. Just a great, great story.
Swing your sword.
Yeah.
Swing
So
your sword. The Lord needed an OC. That's why he called Leach up.
yeah, he was gonna miss him. College football, that's for sure. Anyway, so R.I.P. to the Pirate is like I said, how do you not take Mississippi State? They
Oh,
play on Monday, January 2nd. They're getting points. They play in Tampa Bay that has a pirate ship in the stadium.
Raymond James Stadium
Yeah.
with the pirate ship. And if I'm Raymond James, I'm giving them access to have the cannons go off like they do for
Yeah.
the Bucks game. I'm
Yeah.
giving Mississippi State access to have the cannons go off if they score. That'd be really cool.
Yep.
Missing a golden opportunity if they don't.
Um Cowboys had an interesting game last week. Just like everybody predicted, they beat the Texans. Um
Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. How do you feel about that game? Because I feel like we played bad, but when it mattered, Dak played his best football. He went 99 yards to win the game. I mean, I think that you can take something from that.
I agree. It reminded me a lot of Denver. I've heard a lot of our colleagues at Espen there make the comment, it reminded them of Denver, the Denver game. And if you remember that Denver game, we played like crap. Broncos, similar style, came in just anemic, all sides of the ball,
Yeah.
jumped out on us, and we just ran out of time. We
Yeah.
started really, I mean, we were firing all cylinders. And if we had 5 more minutes, probably
Yeah.
we'd have come back and we'd have won that game. But it reminded me a lot of that. And I thought we've got to hop on it. And we got the ball rolling, 2 big fourth down stops, especially that fourth and goal. We needed a busted play to help us, but still I agree with you. I think there's a lot to be taken from that because good players and good teams find a way to win, regardless, whether it's by one or a
Yeah.
hundred. Good teams find a way to win. Now, we'd have loved to have just come out and beat them 56-3, right? But any given Sunday, I'm sure everyone's heard that, and that's exactly what this was another example of. Is
Yeah.
these guys are in the NFL for a reason. They may be terrible or on a terrible team, but they're capable. Any given Sunday, any team's capable of beating a
Well,
team, and so.
and that's the NFL. It's not college.
Mhm.
College is completely different because if you're a really good team and you're playing a team with one win that late in the season and it's a close game, that's kids not ready to play. And that
Right.
could be a little bit for the Cowboys not being as well ready to play. But I mean, they started off on fire, got a touchdown. It was that drop punt, muff punt, changed everything. But in the NFL, it's such a week to week league and it's so
Mhm.
competitive. There's so much parity. I mean, the Texans got some talent. They're young, but they got talent, and you
Hey,
got to
that
be ready
Damone
to go.
Clark, or excuse me, not
The
Damon
Petrie,
Pierce.
yeah, Pierce, the
Pierce,
running back,
Petrie, the
Petrie, the
safety,
safety.
Pierce, the running back. I mean, they've got, like you said, they've got some talents.
Dude,
Brandon Cooks was out.
yeah, the
I still think
Texans,
we're the better team, and
yeah,
we showed that. We beat them, but yeah,
but
the
they were hitting
Texans just
us. I mean, they laid some lumber, dude. I mean, they hit
yeah.
hard.
That Petrie kid, I'd take him.
Baylor, yeah,
I'd take Pierce too. I'd take either one of those dudes. Those guys, those Texans may have something there with both sides of the ball there with those two guys. Uh, I liked Pierce at Florida too.
yeah. He was
That guy was
underrated. He was
he was
underrated.
underrated at Florida. I think the Texans, like I said, got him a playmaker there, but we won the game. People will say we didn't win it the right way.
And it doesn't matter.
I'm
Ten
sure
and three.
McCarthy chewed him a little bit, but at the end of the day, we did win the game, and that's what you got to do.
I will say that what concerns me is now they didn't know Driscoll was going to play because he was on the practice squad that activated right before the game, and he did a lot of QB run stuff and a lot of RPO stuff, and he missed a couple reads. I think they pointed that out on the broadcast. If he would have gave it on certain times when the box was light, he kind of made a couple misreads. But what concerns me though is that was the same kind of offense that the Eagles are running. A lot of RPO, a lot of QB read stuff, a lot of Jalen Hurts running. And that's how the Eagles beat them the first time. Of course, that was without Dak. So this whole time I was like, well, it'll be different when Dak plays. I'm starting to get a little worried that maybe the Eagles are like really, really legit and they might be better than Cowboys. So we'll see. But that game plan
That
reminded me a lot of what the Eagles did round
and that's
one.
a
It
legit
might be
concern.
what we see in 2 weeks, on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's a legit concern because look at what New York did to us the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
Daniel Jones ran all over us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just lucky they are awful. And I was concerned that, we played them again, but you're right, the quarterback run gives us fits. And I will drink the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Nobody had the idea Jeff Driscoll's going to play. Everybody was ready for Mills, and
Yeah.
Driscoll comes out there and runs. And I mean, he was able to convert to, play pretty
I,
well and
I
kept his
really,
team in it.
I kind of examined it after the fact. I was like, all right, what happened? Because our defense, we didn't have any sacks.
No,
First game in like 2 years, we hadn't had any sacks. And not only that, we didn't really even get any pressure on Mills.
and I was watching Parsons. I got to go to the game, and I'm watching Parsons, and I mean, they have him on Tunzel, or they have Tunzel on him. They're always swinging a tight end out his way,
Yeah.
and they're chipping with the running back. So I'm like, okay, they're getting three guys on him. We should be doing something on the other side. Let's not forget the Texans had 3 first-round picks on their offensive line.
Yeah.
So they on paper these guys are okay. They're not as good as our defense, and we should have been able to get to the quarterback. But I think the Texans had a good game plan for us, disguising the whole two quarterback system they were going to run. And
Yeah.
I had a
I agree.
brilliant call to bring up the mobile quarterback because that's what I would do. If I had a mobile quarterback, I would have him active when I was playing the Cowboys because it's been shown time again
Well,
you
because
can
we, and
have
we,
success against Dallas with the mobile
yeah,
QB.
because we have so much pressure trying to get to the quarterback.
Hmm.
And also, what I think, we struggled with the run. We couldn't consistently stop.
Mhm.
They weren't getting huge chunks, but they were getting enough where they could keep running it, and they were
Yeah.
taking a lead. And I think that's the deal. Our defense is great when you look at the second half all year, our defense. Our defense is great when we have a lead and we know they're going to throw the football and we can get to
Mhm.
the quarterback. Our defense, it's elite. But if we can't stop the run and we don't have the lead and that other team is not going to just drop back pass on us, I think our defense, that's how you beat our defense. And that's kind of what the Packers did. Even though we had a 2-touchdown lead on them to start the fourth quarter, they didn't get away from the run.
They never abandoned the run.
And that's why they were able to stick around. And even though they're down 2 touchdowns, they ran the ball well on us and stuck with it. And then that opened up the pass. We couldn't just pin our ears back. But if you look at all the other times Cowboys where they've dominated games, it's because teams either couldn't run the ball because their offense line wasn't good enough to run the ball, or they were down and they had to pass the ball, and we tore them up. So if we know you're passing, Cowboys' best defense in the league. But the problem is when you play like teams like Philadelphia, we can't bank on having a lead the whole game.
Right.
So that concerns me a little bit. We'll find out in 2 weeks. But
And something going into the game on Sunday, I was hoping, and it went the opposite way. I said, I had faith that we would win the game. This is all before the game, right? I had faith we'd win the game, but I did not need us to get hurt. We lose two guys. We lose
yeah,
Hankins on the D line. We lose right tackle Steele,
yeah.
who had played. I tell you, he's a different player. He looks way different than he did last year. He was
Yep.
really playing well, and that really stinks to
And
lose
we're already
him.
down starting corner Anthony Brown for the
Hmm.
year. Tyron
And
Smith could come back at the perfect time though, because then you could move him and then you can swing Tyler Smith to right.
so you can Tyler Smith to right, or you can put Brisket Peters out there. I liked that. The Brisket Peters signing to me now
It's
becomes
been so
huge
great. Yeah.
because not only can he do guard and he can do left tackle, and you can work him in with Smith and McGovern, but now Tyron comes back. You can leave him, you can kick him out to right. You can try someone else out there to right
Yeah.
because I have Josh Ball
Ball, he was getting
looked
dominant. I mean, that's that whole pick,
awful.
the second pick on our own goal line where we end
Yeah.
up stopping them on 4th and goal. That was all Ball. Ball's just getting dominated, and the guy hits Dak's arm, and ball goes right to the DB. I mean, so
And
he's not the answer. So it's either Tyron Smith gets back, you can move Tyler Smith to right, or Brisket Peters can play right. But I like how they're using him because he's 40 years old. That's an offensive lineman.
mhm.
That's
Yeah,
insane. And they're like, he can't play every snap, but
right.
he can give you some quality snaps though.
And you saw when they moved him over there and it was kind of crunch time. The first
Yeah.
snap over there, Jerry Hughes made a really good move outside in on him and kind of got him and almost got to Dak again, like that Josh Ball interception. Dak able to get it out a little quicker this time. But
Yeah.
I went, oh crap. And then you saw Jason Peters really say, okay, like I said, the guy's been in the league. He was a tight end at Arkansas. He's got good feet, good hands. I mean, arguably a Hall of Famer. I mean, definitely all pro. The guy's really good. You saw him buckle down and get into his own and really start to take over the position and do what we needed him to do. And so that's where I have faith we can figure it out with some sort of mix and match there between the left guard and right tackle.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right. Cowboys go to Jacksonville Sunday. I mean, they're good, scrappy, solid young team.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence been playing some good ball, quarterback position. He's been a little banged up, but he played last week, played well. And they're a solid team. They're probably a year or two away from really making like a run. But they've been way better this year than they were last year. Of course, last year they had Urban Meyer, but this year they got Peterson, and they're playing some good football. Solid. I mean, they're competitive.
And they scare me more than the Texans because Jacksonville is a roller coaster. They go up
Yeah,
and down. Sometimes Trevor Lawrence looks like, man, you look like a rookie. Like, what are you
yeah,
doing? And then other times you're like, there's the number one overall pick. There's
yeah,
there's sunshine, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, they look down, boom, they come up and just mollywop the Titans. So now I'm hoping they trend back down for us, but I
Well, and
mean,
I think it
this
all
is a
goes
game we're
back
going to
down.
take serious.
Yeah, I think one after the scare to the Texans last week, I think the Cowboys are like, we can't take anybody for granted. And number two, it all boils down to what I just said. The Jaguars haven't been running the football as well. So if the Cowboys can shut that down, get a lead, and make Trevor Lawrence have to pass, and we know it, you turn Parsons loose and Tank Lawrence loose and all those guys loose. I think, if that happens, I think our defense will end up dominating them. But if we let them run the football and the game's close, we're gonna have to battle it out.
I need Quinn. I have faith he'll do it. I want to see how he's going to sort of move Parsons around and get him into spots where they can't just triple team him and they can't,
Because that's the
they're going to
worst.
try to do that every time.
If getting
But
triple teamed or not blocked. Because if
yeah,
you're not getting blocked like what the Eagles did, the Eagles just didn't block him. It's like you're not going to be part of the play because if we don't
hmm
block you, we're just going to read you. If you come
yeah,
this way, we're going that way, and vice versa. We're going to make it. You'll make. I mean, that's what our high school offense was all about. Just
hmm
putting guys or reading one guy, putting one guy in conflict, and whatever he chooses, we go the other way. And that was very basic. It's just the
yeah.
triple option principles from way back in the day, but we did it with the pass. The Eagles did it with pass and run. So I mean, that's the worst because he's like, I'm not part of it because,
hmm
and that was a good plan by the Eagles. I'm interested to see if they're moving him around to make it where they can't do that to him.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I got faith in Quinn. I think Quinn's a good enough defensive mind. He can get something worked out. I'd like to see what sort of packages they come up with to get Parsons more involved because, like I said, he was good and has been up until last game. He's good for at least one big QB sack, QB hit, tip pass, something a game, usually in the second half when we really need it. He's been good for that, and he didn't have that against the Texans. And I think that goes back to that game plan they had for him. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I think Jacksonville, I hope it's about like Indianapolis, where we just come out and we have the perfect game plan and we're
Yeah,
firing on all cylinders. We need another game like that, I think, to lead
absolutely.
us into the Philly game on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely. All right, moving on back to college football. Like we said, it's bowl season. Bowls start Friday. I think there's two games on Friday. The one I'm really interested in is starts at 2:00, and I think we both have a play on that one. So
hmm
it could be one of the best bowls of the bowl season. It's Troy and UTSA. But before we do that, I do want to remind everybody about our Gridiron Grind Capital One Bowl Mania fantasy. Go to ESPN.com, go to the fantasy tab, click on Capital One Bowl Mania, search Gridiron Grind. Join our group. We've got a couple, but you just got to get it in before Friday. Friday before the bowls start, get your picks
Yep.
in, sign up for that, get it in, and we'll have some fun following that. I always love doing that every year for bowl season. So ESPN.com, and then go to fantasy, Capital One, Bowl Mania, make your picks, confidence. So whatever one you're most confident in, you put that as the highest score. Least confident is one. So they start on Friday. Get that in. I'll put a link down in the description when this is posted. So we'll get to picks. Picks last week, I was 3-2. Got that Army +3. We both did, and the over. How about double overtime to get that over?
Man, I tell you what, man, the roulette wheel, if
Sometimes it's
it's
gonna come up
hitting,
red.
it'll
Sometimes
come
it's
up
gonna
red
come up
sometimes,
red.
baby. And that's what I tell you what, it was looking bleak. And I said, okay, we got to get a score, got to force OT. Boom, 10-all going into overtime. I said, okay, I need, I got to have two overtimes. Right
Yeah.
out of the gate, he runs that for a touchdown, and I
First
went, oh,
play each side.
okay,
And I'm like, I mean, that's it. And there's your over.
there you go. And now I said, okay, Army's got to somehow win,
Yeah.
or got to get to the third overtime and lose by two, lose on the 2 point
Exactly. That's what I was
conversions.
like. Or if we just get to that third overtime, they go for two each time. We're golden.
Yeah, we're good. That's what I was like. Okay, now that we're in the second overtime, we have to get to the third. And man, what a game! And I tell you what, I felt bad for that running back for Navy,
Yeah.
fumbling there on the goal line, and they kept showing him. And that, I mean, I know that dude is upset. And of course, Navy fires their best coach they've ever had for some reason. I don't know why they
Yeah, I
did that,
did.
but
Shocking. Didn't agree with it, but
yeah. But
whatever you
I thought it was
think.
a good game. It was hard fought,
Great
and
game. Couldn't have been a better Army Navy game. Loved it. And I
they,
can't believe first overtime and however many
yeah.
years.
I
That's
also can't
crazy because
believe
they play close.
each team was that afraid of the forward pass. Was probably like watching. That's probably the closest we'll get to watching when like the Four Horsemen played.
No kidding.
You know, back when Army was winning the
And of
Heisman, it
course,
was Army and Notre Dame
Navy's first possession overtime touchdown pass. So I
touchdown
mean,
pass.
I
Yeah,
guess you do all that to set up one
trick
pass
play,
that's going to
trick
score.
play, forward pass.
All right. So getting into picks, 3-2 last week for me. I'm 47-35 in the year. Jimmy, nice week, 4-2. Season is 44-40 on the year. So both up on the year. Both had winning weeks last week. Let's keep it going. We've had back-to-back winning weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we ride
Love
the
it.
ship. We had 2 weeks where we were a little We're back on. As you can see, our
It's
season
gonna happen.
records are pretty solid. So I got that game we were talking about. It's the Duluth Trading Company Cure Bowl. It's Friday, 2:00. It's Troy, UTSA. I mean, these two teams, Troy has a phenomenal defense. UTSA has a phenomenal offense. It's going to be a great game. Both these teams have been on a tear. I think they're both ranked. One's 23rd, one's 24th. I think UTSA is the better team. It's a small number, +1.5. So I'm taking the Roadrunners meet UTSA +1.5. I'm also taking the over. The over is 55.5. So get me down for both UTSA +1.5 and Troy UTSA over 55.5. It's going to be a tremendous game.
I think so too. Like we said, this may be the best bowl game before you hit to the playoffs, unless you're affiliated, love one of the other teams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with the same game, but I'm gonna give me the over. I went back and forth on that. I think my gut tells me UTSA, I think, is the better team too. I think offensively, but like you said, Troy's defense pretty stout. I'm taking the over because I think both of these teams are both come in 11-2. I think both of these teams just get after one another. The majority, I think all their guys are playing. They may have
Yeah.
a couple,
They're
but
all
like
playing.
this may be the two most complete
Teams.
teams
Absolutely.
from the
That's why the
regular
game will
season
be so
wise
great.
playing. So I think the over, I agree with that 55.5. Give it to me. And I think it hits maybe third quarter-ish. I don't think we have to do Army Navy
Yeah.
again. And I think
And
we're going
both
to get it.
teams scored 48 points in the conference championship,
Yeah.
a week or two ago. In the last couple games, both teams are averaging over 40 points scored. So I like the over. Really like the over.
I do too.
My
I
next
also
one.
like,
Oh, go ahead.
did you give two?
Yeah. So I gave both in the one game. So
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
either way.
We'll even it up. I'll do South Alabama, Western Kentucky.
On
In
Wednesday.
that game, I like the over 56 in that game. I think both these teams. I think South Alabama probably wins. I think they're the better team. Both these teams scoring in the 30s though, the 56, and I think you get to bowl time and things just offenses just pick up. It
Yeah.
seems like, and so I think both these teams are going to be able to score pretty close to their season average, and I think that over 56 hits, and wouldn't surprise me if it's lopsided South Alabama's way.
Okay. I will say this. I have a play on this one. This one's Wednesday, the 21st? Yeah, 21st. Western Kentucky's quarterback's not playing. He entered the transfer portal. And the three other quarterbacks on the roster for Western Kentucky have a combined for 17 passing attempts behind the starting quarterback, Austin Reed, for West Kentucky.
There
So
you
he's
go.
in the portal, not playing. I think that, to me, screams got to take South Alabama. Quarterback's most important position. West Kentucky is going to throw an inexperienced guy out there. It's 4.5, so I'm taking South Alabama -4.5.
I like that. I like that. Western Kentucky, runs a system. It's
But they
like they
do,
still carry. They
yeah,
carry over from when Petrino
yeah.
was there, and so
They're going to throw it a lot. I mean, they're going to
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna throw it a lot. There's a chance for a lot of points. And hey, South Alabama may beat them 59-0. So
be.
that'll work for me
Still,
too.
still get your winner.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then I have, so that's 3 from me. I have 4 on Saturday.
I've got another one. I got Oregon State and Florida. Give me under 53.
It's a good pick.
Under 53 in that Florida's quarterback is not going,
Right.
not going to be playing. He's entered the transfer portal.
No, he's
and,
entering the
Oregon's-
draft.
Or the draft, sorry, and he's gone. Oregon State plays tough. They play good defense. This just to me, I'm going. This is under
Yeah.
53, and
I agree
I
with
like
you.
it. That's what I'm going under.
I definitely agree with you on that one. And the line has jumped up significantly. I think it's up to 10. It was Oregon State minus 5 or 6. Now Oregon State's minus 10. So the under, I think, is a great play. All right, I got 4 on Saturday. We'll start with Southern Miss. That is the Lending Tree Bowl, 4:45 on Saturday. It's Southern Miss and Rice. And remember, Rice only has 5 wins, but they got in. So when they got to fill bowl spots, they go to 5-win teams, but they go academic standing first and go down. And Rice obviously is going to have the highest graduate rate. I mean, being such a good school. So Rice gets to go to the bowl. Southern Miss has covered 4 of their last 5, and Rice kind of flamed out towards the end of the season. They had every opportunity to make a bowl game, but I think they lost like 3 or 4 in a row. They do have multiple quarterback injuries. Not sure who's going to start for Rice, but they've had their top 2 guys have missed time over the last month of the season. And Southern Miss has a top 10 defense. So Rice's offense is ranked 106. So I like Southern Miss at minus 4.5. Well, no, I'm sorry, minus 6. I got Southern Miss minus 6 in the Lending Tree Bowl Saturday.
I like it. I think that one could be lopsided Southern Miss's way. I think that's a great bet.
Yeah.
I think that's a great bet. I'm going to jump to the NFL trade. I'm going Bills Dolphins. It's going to be cold in Buffalo. Everyone in Miami, Tua, everyone wants to downplay it. Snowflake even gave an interview. Snowflake's downplaying the weather in Buffalo. Well, it's real. Okay. It's real, and it's going to affect the Miami Dolphins' ability to throw the football and catch the football. I know these guys are professionals and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's real. It's not it's playing in Lambeau and this cold, Buffalo, all those teams. There's a reason Minnesota built a dome. I'm gonna put it that way. And I think Buffalo minus 7 is a great play. I think this could be about like the Jets, where Buffalo just it pulls away and I think they have a bounce back game. They played a little kind of sloppy against the Jets. They didn't hit my over, but they pulled it out. I think Buffalo minus 7. I think they kind of take it to the Dolphins a little bit.
Shocked by that game last week, the Bills Jets. Like, I mean, just no point, no scoring.
Nothing.
But I agree with you. Tua is from Hawaii. He never had any kind of weather to deal with. Now he lives in Alabama. It's it gets a little chilly, but not like it does in Buffalo. Then he plays for the Dolphins. I mean, I agree with you. That weather Sunday
Yeah,
gonna be
this is
real.
real. It is real, and it is going to
And
affect.
don't forget, Miami beat Buffalo earlier in the season. That was the Ken Dorsey going crazy in the booth, slamming that thing down. So there's a little revenge match for Buffalo, and they're trying to say number 1 seed in the AFC. So I like that. Bills minus 7 for Jimmy. I got 3 more picks, 2 more bowl games. So we'll take the single game, the New Mexico Bowl, played in Albuquerque, Saturday at 6:30. It is BYU SMU.
I want to see what you have in this game because I almost had this on my list.
I have BYU. I do not understand the spread. BYU plus 3.5. And here's why I don't understand it. SMU has 2 starters opting out. One for the NFL, one he hadn't said. He's just not playing. But the big one that's opting out for the NFL, Rashee Rice. He has he's the majority of SMU's offense. If you've watched, it's a majority of their passing game anyway. I mean, he's who they throw the football to. no player on SMU has even a third of his targets. I mean, that's who they throw the ball to. I know you get 15 practices getting ready for the bowl game, but I don't know how do you fix that. There's just no experience there for SMU. I mean, maybe they got a guy that'll show out and have a big game. Definitely possible. But I'm going to err on the side of there's a reason why you threw the ball to him so much. So I'm opting out. I think SMU is going to struggle offensively. I love BYU plus 3.5 in this game.
I love the under in this game at 64.
And that goes exactly with what I was.
That's what I loved, the under at 64 in this. That's why I was interested to see what you were going to pick,
I think
see if it went along, kind of reassure myself. Yeah.
Even do a
And
parlay.
you're exactly right. You
Yeah.
cannot lose a large piece of your offense like that. It's hard at any level, but at college, I mean, in a bowl game, it's pretty hard to overcome. So yeah, I agree with you. I think BYU covers that pretty well. And I'm gonna go back to the NFL. Actually, I'll put in that pick under
With the under.
under
I think you're right. And you
63.
could even maybe feeling great. Do a little parlay
Yeah.
of that BYU in the under.
Yeah, I like
So
that under just because of what you said. I think BYU defensively can get a little bit after SMU.
Yeah. What did you say it was 64?
63.
63. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Excuse me, 64. 64. And
Both
so
teams.
yeah,
I mean, a 31-30 game, you're still under.
yeah.
Both teams stay in the 20s, you're golden.
That's where I think it stays. I think it stays in the 20s. Personally, for my last pick, going back to the NFL, going to a game we talked about a little bit, give me Dallas and Jacksonville over 47. I like this because Dallas offensively, we got to get back to something. We still scored 27 in a game that looked like we may not even score 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we allowed the Texans. We know what they scored. We allowed them to get up there. I'm going, well, crap, there's my over. We saw what Jacksonville did there, Tennessee. And I think if Jacksonville doesn't just fall apart and play, like I said, like our Indianapolis game, we played Indy, I think this game goes over 47 pretty easily. So
I mean, I
that's my
agree.
pick.
I think the Cowboys score 40. I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see them scoring 42, 45 points. Just for a bounce back and
Yeah.
maybe even only 38. But I think they at least get close to 40. Just bounce back, get the offense going. I think Jacksonville's going to put up a fight, especially in the first half. So I think it's a good pick. Either way, I'd side with that.
Yeah,
over as well.
they gave up 22 to Tennessee. We gave up 23 to Houston. And I'm going, okay, well, 47. I'm like, if we're both in the 20s, we're fine. So yeah, I like that over 47.
All right, I got two picks, both from the same game. It's a Frisco Bowl. Obviously played in Frisco. Saturday night, 8:15. It is North Texas and Boise State. Little nugget. North Texas has failed to cover their last three games. So 0-3 against the spread the last three games. Now they just fired their coach, Seth Luttrell, who's been phenomenal there. They got rid of him. He never covered in the last 5 years, 5 bowl games, 0-5 against the spread. So North Texas is 0-5 against the spread their last 5 bowl games. They're 0-3 against the spread their last 3 games of the season. Boise State's quarterback, it should be a full go. He got banged up against Fresno State in the championship game. He's expected to start. Also, Boise State Broncos defense is the number 1 defense in the nation on passing down. So second and long and third down.
There you go.
Best passing defense in the nation, passing situations. So I like Boise State. It's up to 10. Was 6. It's up to 10 now. So I still like Boise State minus 10, but I love the over. I think North Texas, their strength of their team's their offense. I think Boise with their quarterback, I think there's going to be some points. So give me Boise State minus 10 over North Texas and gave me Boise, North Texas over 59.5.
I like it. I like it. I
There
think
you
we
go.
got starting off bowl season right. I like these picks.
13 picks, 7 from me, 6 for you. I like it. We'll say
Good number.
keep the hot streak going.
The old
you know?
baker's dozen right out of the gate. I like it.
Absolutely. Now, Cowboys, after this week, of course, they play the Eagles on Christmas Eve.
Mhm.
So that'll be a big one. We'll have a big show next week. We'll get even further into the bowl games. Don't forget about the Capital One Bowl Mania on ESPN.com. Fantasy Capital One Bowl Mania. Church Gridiron Grind. Sign up, play along with us. And then Cowboys Eagles next week. Showdown. Cowboys still have a chance at the NFC East and the number 1 seed. Got to win
they've
this
got
week.
to.
Got to win next week.
Right. And that's right.
Need
This
help.
week, you need to have everything going your way rolling into that game against Philly
Absolutely.
because they so far just look.
I mean,
And I was hoping New York could give them a little bit better of a game, and then they just pulled away.
I've been shocked at how their last 3 games have just not been very competitive.
Right.
Basically, ever since they lost to Washington, they've been steamrolling people. I mean,
they've clicked at the right
Giants,
time.
The Packers gave them somewhat of a game, but they pulled away late. But the Titans, and then the Giants, I mean, they've just steamrolled them. And then they play the Bears this week. Not a lot of hope there.
Yeah, I thought the Titans game was going to be a lot better than it was. I thought, okay, we got Derrick Henry. Let's see what this offense can do. And they didn't even show up.
Yeah.
They might as well play Jacksonville. So
as well. So, all right, big week. Have a great start to bowl season, and I guess we'll see everybody next week. See you, Jimmy.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
See ya.
See ya.